Hey YouTube, welcome back to the shop here. I know a lot of you have been following along the build process of this place. It's actually been a couple years since I've really done anything to improve the shop itself. And I want to talk today because I've got a few things going on. I actually finally made a decision to move away from this insulation that's paper faced and go to this nice vinyl faced product that you see in the back. But because of that, I've got to move everything away from the walls. And while I'm doing that, I figure it's kind of the optimum time to paint the ceiling here, which leads me to talking about a big mistake that I made, particularly in the ceiling. Now, I made a bunch of mistakes when I built this place. I think one day I'll do a video of like all the mistakes I've made. But I consider this my biggest mistake because it's by far the one that's going to cost me the most time. And that's related to drywalling the ceiling here. If you'll notice, I can zoom in on it. I did drywall and I spackled the joints, and essentially almost every joint is now cracked. You see some paper there that's hanging down right there. That's one of the worst spots. So there are some spots where paper's hanging down, but mostly just cracks like you see there. Virtually everywhere in the seams of the drywall. I'm gonna speculate a little bit about why I think it happened. Partially, I don't heat this building all the time, so it can get down below freezing in here. And then in the summertime, I'm in Michigan, it can go upwards of 90 degrees too. So I'm sure the heat and cooled cycles didn't benefit this at all. The other thing is I used pre-mixed mud, and I've since learned that that's maybe not the best product for bedding tape, and maybe I should have used something like Durabond. Regardless, I actually don't plan on like ripping any of the spackle or tape out and redoing it. My plan in here to fix this is to paint the ceiling black. And I actually, depending on how it looks once I paint it black, I think I'm gonna use maybe some trim or some furring strips or something to kind of box out everywhere where there's a seam and just kind of add some depth to the ceiling in here. And that's, I think it'll kind of look good like that, especially with the black ceiling and the white kind of insulation. And I don't know, we'll see how it looks, so let's get started. All right, so it's day 2. I got this all painted, rolled out yesterday. It took about 6 hours to roll it all out, and then I spent another couple hours today up on the scaffolding here, just cutting in everything around like the furnace and the lift and the lights and all. I've got the scaffolding. I found though that it was pretty easy to use that long roller, that long pole with the roller to just do all the rolling. And I think I would have been up and down the scaffolding like way too many times if I'd have tried to use that to get closer to the ceiling. But I really like this. This gray actually looks great. It's making me kind of second guess my choice to go with black, but I'm committed now. I bought the paint and we're gonna go there. I bought just this is like really inexpensive paint. I went to the girl at Home Depot and I said, I just want black paint. Do I have to like choose between 10 different types of black, or do you just have black paint? And she actually, they have this on the shelf there and they don't even have to mix it. It just comes black. And it was only like $60. She said this is kind of what people use when they're like flipping houses and don't really care about the paint that much. in contrast to this primer I got. I spent a lot more on the primer. That was like $140 in primer. But I wanted a pretty good primer. So I used maybe 3.5 gallons of this. And it says it covers 4 to 450 square foot per gallon. I probably could have gone a little heavier on the primer. The back looks good. I don't know if it's just the lighting, but when I look towards the front, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on video. Yeah, you can see there, it didn't really cover that great. But I'm not gonna do another coat of primer. I figure I'm gonna end up doing 2 coats of black anyway. We'll see how far this 5 gallons gets me. And then I'll do as much black as I need to make it look decent. All right, so it's the next day, and so the paint has totally dried. You can see I just have to cut in, which is what I'm working on now. This paint is awesome. I am so happy with the way it looks so far. The paint itself is like, it just looks like tar. It looks like seal coating like you'd put on a driveway, but it's really thick, and it's actually going on better than the primer did. So this is the first coat, and I think it's only going to need 1 coat, but I'll work on the cut in here. All right, so the cut-in's all done. This stuff covers amazingly. Like I only used half of this 5 gallon container, and this is a 1,500 square foot ceiling. I'm not even gonna do another coat. Like it's just coated it so well. If you get up above the light, maybe you can see it a little on camera. You can definitely, yeah, you can see it a little bit where, you know, the spackle is a different color than the drywall. It's actually showing up way better on camera than it shows up in real life here. You really don't notice it because all the lights hang down like a foot, and they're kind of blinding you when you look up, and so your eyes will never really adjust to the black of the ceiling enough to be able to see any of those imperfections. You definitely can't see any of the drywall cracks anymore. So I'm kind of on the fence of whether I am gonna put some trim over it now or kind of wait till more of the tape starts falling off. I'm not sure. But the last thing I've got to do is I've got to, I'm gonna trim out these edges, but first I need to install the rest of the insulation. So I will check back with you in a minute when I'm done with that. All right, so here's the black ceiling with the insulation and upper trim installed. And I'm gonna come back and cover this wall with something else. So that's the only part that's really not finished out trim-wise. And then I did go ahead and cut in just the paint line across the garage door wall here because I'm not gonna have any trim hanging down. There's not room for anything with those garage springs there. But the rest of it has that kind of 6-inch trim dropping down along the wall. I think it's been maybe 4 or 5 months actually since I initially painted the ceiling. I've just been working on all this insulation and trim work, and you kind of notice it's a little bit, it's maybe a little bit darker overall in here, but with the lighting in this shop, it really makes no difference whatsoever. And I absolutely love the way it looks. I wish I had done this a long time ago. It really kind of changed the whole way you feel about this space. So highly recommend black ceiling. I would recommend a black metal ceiling. I think I talked about that before. I wouldn't recommend drywall in a pole barn that you're not going to heat all the time. but now that it's all said and done, I'm really happy with the result. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will catch you next time.